Hello everyone, welcome back once again. Trevor here, and today I welcome you to my brand new setup. I hope that you do like it very much, and today I want to talk about something new and something near and dear to my heart, which is saving money for you students out there. Now I know I did an earlier video this year, or well, I guess it's last year at this point, about the best student credit cards, and today I want to follow that up a little bit with a video about the best ways to save money as a student. And so on this subject, let's talk a little bit about the reasons why it is necessary and really recommended that you try as much as possible to save money when you're a student. So I've identified 4 reasons why you would want to save as much money when you are a student. And the first one is the one that I like the most, which is you can put away as much of that savings money as you can into investments and grow your wealth as quickly as possible. The second reason is out of necessity. Look, I know being a student is expensive and we need to save as much money as possible because we also don't make that much money. Third, we have planning for the future. Look, the future is a big and scary place that we're going to eventually, and we're going to need as much financial security as possible, especially in these especially turbulent times that was 2020 and continuing into 2021. And finally, avoiding as much debt as possible. Look, as I said earlier, being a student is expensive, and you have a lot of costs when it comes to tuition, books, rent, food, a whole bunch of stuff. And so you want to avoid having to take out debt as much as possible. And so the ways that I'm going to talk about today are going to help you avoid that. Now, before I get started, I would also like to mention that you don't necessarily have to follow these rules to the letter, but I would like you to follow them as much as possible and to show as much discipline as possible. Look, it's okay to eat out every once in a while, for example, but you should follow these rules if you want to be financially secure as possible as a student. Now, before I get started, I want you to like that like button so very hard. If you could do that, that would make me so very happy. And thank you very much. So let's jump right into the video. Alright, and so the first thing that you should do when you want to save money is identify your necessities. So the 4 areas that I would say are your necessities are your food, your housing, your transportation, and school supplies as a student. Now, these are the basic needs that you're going to have, and so these are what your spending should be covering first and foremost. Now, with this being said, when you take care of these necessities, that doesn't mean you cannot save money in these areas. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier when I was going through some of the reasons why you'd want to save money, is that when it comes to food, for example, instead of eating out, maybe you should make something at home, whether that be a home-cooked meal like pasta, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of resources online for cheap meals that you can make and easy meals that you can make in like 10-15 minutes, so there are a lot of resources out there for you in that area. For example, in another area, housing, get roommates. That's something that I've done, and something that will cut down the cost of rent considerably. And so the second main way that you can save a bit more money is try and identify the areas where you're spending a lot of money where you don't really need to. And these are areas, maybe some little luxuries that you can live without. Maybe this will be, maybe not spend money on a new video game, for example, this month, or maybe it's something a lot more simple. So, for example, me, the office chair that I have is actually a folding chair, and I'm just going to show you this really quickly. See? This is just an example of one thing that you can actually do in order to cut down costs a little bit. Another thing on top of this is you can also buy used instead of buying new. So let's say you're in the need for something, instead of going and checking on Amazon or going into your Walmart or whatever the case may be, maybe go look on sites like eBay, Craigslist, Kijiji, whatever the case may be. Now, I understand that currently you may not want to meet up with people and get their used gear because of the pandemic, but just keep this in mind when the pandemic lightens up. And so the third point that I have doesn't necessarily have to do with cutting down costs, but it does have to do with making money, which will actually increase the amount of money that you have to save and to spend. And so there's many ways that you can go about making a few bucks here and there, and so I'm going to just go through a few of them for you. So do you have a part-time job, a side hustle, maybe a little startup, or some bursaries from school? Because if you do, that's great, because that will tell you how much money you have coming in and will be very useful in determining how much you have to spend each month. Now, if you don't, that's okay. You can go and get a part-time job, as I mentioned. Maybe you do want to start up maybe a little startup, a little business, or you want to do something. Maybe you want to go drive Uber Eats or something like that if you have a car available. The opportunities are really endless, and there are many resources online for you to go look, and that'll give you some further ideas, because they do really help a lot. Now, one point that I would make here is not to really overdo it. At the end of the day, you are a student. That is your full-time job, and that's what should be your biggest focus, your studies. You shouldn't be devoting too much time, say, to your part-time job over your studies, because at the end of the day, your studies are an investment into yourself, and this is what'll bring you greater success and greater results later on. And if your studies suffer as a result of devoting too much time to some rinky-dink part-time job, you are going to regret it later on. So that's just one thing to note. Now, if you did want a quick and easy way to make some money here, you can use my Wealthsimple referral link found down below, and if you sign up and deposit and trade $100 using that link, then me and you will get a little bit of a kickback, and you'll be able to have a bit more money when it comes to trading and investing. Now, the final thing that I have to say is to prepare a monthly budget, which is absolutely critical if you really want to be on top of your spending and saving. And so, as I mentioned earlier in the income segment, the best thing that you could do is to match your monthly budget to the amount of income that you have coming in. And now, ideally, you would match this to the 50% going towards necessities, 30% going towards your wants, and 20% going towards your savings, otherwise known as the 50-30-20 rule. However, this isn't really ideal for students, because that's not how your priorities are structured and how your income is structured. So I'm going to kind of give you an alternative here. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you some hard numbers that you can try and follow. And what I would say is, I'm going to first of all assume that you're going to have a bit of money coming in. So I'm going to assume that you're probably working, let's say about 10 to 20 hours a week, and hit that middle ground of 15 hours. And so under this assumption, I'm gonna say that if you do have rent, you should be keeping your monthly spending below $1,500. And if you don't have rent, we're gonna cut that in half effectively and say that you should not be spending above $750. I find these numbers to be really good benchmarks, and they shouldn't be too hard to follow, and they will allow you to save as much money as possible. And so some great tools to help you make a monthly budget would either be a number of Excel templates, which I will link down below, that you can use very easily, or to use some services such as Mint, which is what I use, or Personal Capital, which will create some beautiful diagrams which will track your spendings when you link your bank accounts to them, and really give you a great way of visualizing where your money is going, where it's coming in, and that will help you very much, because fact of the matter is, when you're able to see where your money is going and what it's doing, it becomes much easier for you to save your money and to say, maybe I'm spending too much money on McDonald's this month, I'm gonna cut back next month. And so when it comes to the monthly budget, an important thing to do is to also do a monthly review, go at the end of the month and see, okay, did I do a good job, bad job, where could I improve, what did I do well, and overall just kind of see how you did and your way forward. And so that would conclude my list today. Now, to be clear, this is not an exhaustive list. I just tried to put forward the basics that I find to be the keys to saving money as a student, and if there is enough interest, I may release a part 2 in the future. And so I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I really appreciate it, and if you could leave a comment down below, I would like to hear so as well. Maybe if you have any ideas of other ways that people could save money, that would be really interesting to see. And don't forget to subscribe and to go down to that referral link for Wealthsimple to collect your little bonus money. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.